Hello, everyone. This is Sam Eccles-Irwin from FilmFestivalCircuit.com and the director of the Oregon Screams Horror Film Festival. Right now, we're getting ready for our fall event, which is going to take place on October 17th at the beautiful, historic Clinton Street Theater in Portland, Oregon. And to get ready for this event, we've been talking with some of our participating filmmakers. Today, we're talking with Alice Hjorth, who is the writer, director, and editor behind GOLIA. Alice, thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Thank you for inviting me. Good to be here.
So Goalie is it's such an incredible film. There's so much going on with the plot. There's great production value, great effects. Tell me what inspired this film.
Thank you so much for saying that. I think there were many things that inspired me. I think like I've also always been like very like interested and fascinated by the relationships between humans and technology. Like I suppose that's a very common sci-fi theme, but like to explore like where do people stop and technology begin, and like the power relationships. And I've always been like, like using technology a lot, like gaming a lot and using the internet a lot. And then the tech giants, I was interested in kind of exploring like the dark side of the tech giants, like that has come into society. And I think they change so many things, like the way we interact on social media. And I was very fascinated by the way that I think it affects like our relationships and as a society as whole. Like I was reading also I was studying film and media science, and I was trying to be like, how can you create fiction about those kind of themes? Like, how can you create a compelling
Right.
story about like big philosophical topics like that? And I got the idea to Golia and like to some tech giant that has like taken over society in a very commercializing way. And like the climate catastrophe has happened, and everybody's just in a way living in this dark, mindless consumerist society. So that was kind of the idea. And also very much inspired also by my engagement as a climate activist. I'm also an activist, and that was a huge inspiration as well for the movie.
Totally. Well, it's great. There's tons of themes working there, and and they operate on a very kind of complex, sophisticated way. Without giving away the plot, there's a sort of a push and pull with the climate activists and the technology, and sort of what we realize what's going on. You realize that it's a lot more complex than one might assume, and I think it's interesting that even the activists have to engage with technology. That's the platform to topple technology. Technology is that platform. Um, I'm curious if you can you expand on that a little bit? I mean, especially as an activist and a technology user, what's that like?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, like, yeah, I remember once I was at this huge Zoom meeting for a lot of activists, and we were discussing this topic. Like, we because many climate activists think that tech giants are problematic because they kind of isolate people. They have
Right.
this tendency to polarize people, so we only see things from people we agree with already. So it becomes kind of these echo chambers where we
Mhm.
hear ourselves and we hear people who say the same things as we agree with already. And as activists, we think it's very problematic. So I remember this seminar where we were discussing like, but should we use Google? Should we use YouTube? Should we use these things? And people were like, of course we should, because we have to get our messages out there. And but I thought it was really interesting discussion, and people had a lot of different opinions about it. And yeah, I think just generally as an activist, you think a lot about like, how can you get your message across in a good way. And yeah, so that has been really some of the thoughts that has inspired the film.
Interesting, and I feel like you tackle that well because the subversive groups, they're using the platform, they're trying to become streamers and get that. So, and then there's a point where it all sort of breaks. But I think that's interesting that you kind of explore that. To what extent, what's that compromise like? Um, well, tell me, what was the shooting process like? There's a great locations, great set design, very high quality camera, and really cool effects. What was the process like?
Well, thank you so much. Well, it was a long process, and I will just start to say that I was really lucky to get a lot of really talented people along, because the story is so ambitious in a way, and it could have been, a big, maybe like funny, but really, it could have gone really bad in a way. But I really think I had some amazing help, and like, well, it began with that we got some support from the Danish. There is a fund in Jutland, where I live, where they have the state finance, and they wanted to support the film because they liked the script. But we couldn't get any producers involved at the beginning because everybody was like, "Oh, there are too many special effects. We don't
No,
want to
yeah,
touch that." I think that was
right.
very, you know, but then finally we got a production company interested, called Biofilm, who made some genre films as well, really cool stuff. And then it's just sort of all came together when Selina and David, my producers on this film, when they came along, they just found some really cool people. And our special effects man, our special effects supervisor, Henrik, he's also a director actually, and he's just made a lot of really cool sci-fi films. So he was kind of our main effects guy, and then we had some assistants, and then we got this really brilliant photographer involved also, called Martin, and I wrote him about the script, and he liked the idea. So I was so happy to get so talented people involved. And then I also did a lot of location scouting because
Nice.
we didn't have budgets to create an evil corporation. So I actually was very inspired just by the architecture here in Aarhus, where I live. Actually, the headquarters of GOLIA is actually like this really cool library building by the
Oh,
harbor. So I was just in love with that building. I thought it looked like some spaceship or some really
totally.
modern, cool building. So I actually was writing and looking at that building, and actually the Golia office in the film, that's actually a reading room in the library.
Oh,
So I
wow.
sat in there and wrote a lot of the film in that room. So yeah, and I just think that's a nice way to work low budget,
Mhm.
to like get inspiration from physical locations that are already there, so you don't have to kind of build it all from scratch.
Totally. Well, I love the perseverance with that story and not backing away from the ambitious film, even though the producers of the first few said no, you stuck with it and then you were able to make a fantastic film that didn't compromise. I think that's great. Um,
Thanks.
and I do like you talking about the team because it really is important to rely on the team when it comes to filmmaking. It's definitely a group activity. Um, Tell me a little bit about your actors. They had such great chemistry and such great, just facial acting, the small stuff. What was it like working with your actors?
Well, it was a wonderful experience. It was really great. I mean, I had a very cool and good caster called Mark, and he was into the story, and he had so many great suggestions. And some actors said no because they were like, Danish cyberpunk, that, ooh, they didn't like the idea of that.
Uh,
It's just sound to them like, no, it's not gonna happen. And but then Jesper Ole, the main character, he's a very brilliant comedic actor. And yeah, I was just so lucky he said yes. And then Ronja, the main female character, I saw her at a casting for a long time ago, and then I just thought she was so brilliant, and I actually wrote the role for her before she even
oh
knew
wow.
anything about Golia. I was like, "Do you want to be in this movie? I wrote a role for you." She was, "Wow, okay, what?" Um, so yeah, I think they were just really, yeah. I'm so thankful for the cast because I think they did an amazing job, and we had some good readings beforehand where we talk about the subjects and played a little with the roles, and we did some impro to like, who are these characters,
Totally.
and to get to know the role and play a little with it. And I think I can really I really like that. I really recommend to meet before with the actors if you have the possibility, and just play with it and improvise if you have that possibility.
Totally. Well, it really pays off because they completely embody those characters. I mean, it's cool to hear that you both did the reading and the improv in character to just get them to really embrace that, and it works really well. Well, tell me what kind of stuff did you learn from this process? What did you take away from making Golia?
I think I learned a lot because it was a in a way, it's a very steep learning curve, because I didn't have experience with making a lot of special effects. So that's why it was so stupid to write a film with so many special effects. But I learned so much, and Henrik was really good because he was like teaching me how you do it when you have so many effects, and we were making a list with all the effects and all that, and I think I learned a lot from that, because I was in the beginning I was like, no, I don't want to make a special effect list. That sounds boring, very 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 stupid. But he was like, you have to have that, because otherwise it's going to be a mess, and we need to have kind of for the post process, we need to have a kind of overview of all these effects. And so I just listened to him, and eventually learned a lot, and also did a lot of storyboarding, and got a lot of feedback. I always love to get a lot of feedback from people, like in the process, and just listen, what is working, what is not
Mm,
working, and on the screen, on the script level, and on the editing level as well. I got a lot of feedback, and a lot of things were cut out. So I think I learned a lot. Yeah.
excellent. Well, I think that's a great takeaway and great advice for filmmakers who are attempting to make a serious project. Is that you can't ever skim on the planning. Take your time, list everything, and the feedback is great. And a lot of people they're so in love with their edit or something, and it's very hard. I know it's very hard to cut scenes out and change stuff around, but I really admire that. I feel like that's so valuable to take inspiration from your team and your peers. Um, well, Alice, do you have anything else to add about Golia?
Do I have anything else? I think I wrote some notes just in case I got
No,
blank and
totally.
didn't remember anything. But I think we pretty much got around a lot of the things I wrote down.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I just wanted to talk about some inspiration, like visually,
Oh
and
yes,
just
yes.
quick.
Please
Yeah,
do.
it was just like 80s science fiction movies. I
Okay.
wanted to make an homage to them in a way. And yeah, there was also a film called Minority Report. I don't know if you
Okay.
saw it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's really cool, and they had some really nice effects with the personalized ads. There is
Oh,
this scene
totally.
where Tom Cruise he walks into a supermarket, and the ads just talks to him, and I think that was just really cool, because it was just like personalized ads, like, and the film is from 2002, so it was like 20 years before the
Right.
internet is like it is today. They made a film about it, and that was just really cool. Just wanted to recommend that film
Absolutely.
for people who didn't see it. And yeah, and also, like, I wanted to, let's just recommend Cronenberg and Carpenter,
Okay.
John
Well,
Carpenter.
the Fly, we kind of get the Fly with their masks a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I was getting kind of with the interiors and that sort of play between the shadows, the darkness of the main character's apartment, and then the neon of the Golia world. It's sort of like a Blade Runner esque thing, especially with the motion billboards and everything. A really really cool a set of inspirations, and I think you captured that really well.
Thank you so much. That's Henrik's achievement as well.
Yes.
He's brilliant.
Well, Alice, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, no, I think we got around a lot of what I've been doing with Golia. So yeah,
Excellent.
thanks for a great interview.
Yes, well, thank you so much for talking with me. I'm very excited to play Golia on October 17th at the Oregon Screams Horror Film Festival. I think the themes and the topic, they're so universal, and the film is so well done. I think it's really going to stick with people and make a fantastic impression.
Thank you so much, and I wish I could be there, man. The lineup seems really cool, and it sounds so nice with the horror film festival. So I'm really happy because I love horror films so much. So I was really grateful that we were selected to the festival, man. Have a great one.
You too. Thank you. Take care. And I'm looking forward to seeing more films from you.
Thank you so much.